Well, we're excited to be where we are this time of year, getting ready to go on the road and face a really tough Iowa team with only senior night remaining after that for the Big Ten tournament. It's been nice to have a little bit of a breather, more mentally than physically, and this is a big week for us as we need to continue to improve as a group.
Speaking to agents, they talk about how some of your guys took a lot less to come here, and how fulfilling is it for you that the message that you gave to them about playing for something like a championship and sacrificing has led to this moment?
Yeah, I would say these guys, most players now have financial managers, and if their financial managers knew the sacrifices that they made, they wouldn't be very happy with their clients. Especially now as we talk to our guys about the recruiting process. Typically, when we recruit, we don't talk about the other teams or who else is recruiting. This is what we have to offer. This is what we are. This is how we think this benefits you and us, because it has to be mutually beneficial, or at least the expectations that you're both going to benefit from it. Michigan has to make has to do well, and the individual has to do well for their career as well. But it's just like when the Warriors won their championship. It was Steph Curry signed a contract extension when he had a bad wheel, and he ended up getting healthy. If he had a bad wheel, that would have been a bad contract. But because he became an MVP of the NBA, now he's on a great contract. The salary cap goes up at the same time, and they're able to go get Kevin Durant. So timing is everything, but looking at what these guys all sacrificed, it's the reason that we're in position that we're in, because we know what type of caps are out there, and we're going to get to that point. We're confident, but in the meantime, we've got to keep getting great value for everyone that we bring in, and then we need to make sure that we over deliver on what we promise in the process.
You feel like you've done that?
Up to this point, we feel like this has been very beneficial, and everyone's not at the end of the road. But as of March 2nd, is today the 2nd? As of March 2nd, I think everyone is benefiting the way we thought this would happen. And there's never a guarantee. There is a proof of concept, and there is a track record of helping players maximize their individual play while also winning and doing it together in an enjoyable way. So we're proud of that.
And then when was LJ hurt? Sorry, Tom. When was LJ hurt? And then what's your plan in terms of how the minutes are going to go? And is a little more pressure on Elliott now, would you say?
Three questions there. LJ, when he was hurt, we're not exactly sure. At halftime, the training staff came and said basically he's passed all of his jump tests. He just did the bike. He says he's 100% ready to go. And I was surprised because I was expecting him to be out. And I said, what about the tests? And they said both of his knees are loose, so it's hard. Like, we don't feel that anything's torn. He comes back in. He lands funny again. So I don't know when. He doesn't know when it happened. It's obviously unfortunate for him because he was playing so well. But, when you land funny, when an ACL pops on a non-contact injury, you're like, man, like, what could we have done different? When it happens on a funny, quirky play, usually that's when you're like, those are the ones that they're not preventable. As far as Elliott, this will force Elliott to be, I guess, much more solid with his defensive decision-making when it comes to fouling, and he doesn't have that insurance policy anymore named LJ behind him, because LJ came in and carried the load several games for our group, and so that's not there anymore. But this is a great opportunity for Roddy and Trey and Namari to play more, and those guys are really good players, and our rotation's been 9, and 9 I think is too deep. I mean, that's playing too many guys if you want to optimize everyone. But we felt like we had 9 guys that deserved to play that gave us a different element, and there was any of those 9 that we felt like we could cut out of the rotation because of how good they are. So we look at this as another challenge, but it's also an opportunity for guys to play a little bit more, to play longer periods, to play through a mistake, to play in a little bit different role. And we do feel like these guys are a lot better than they were earlier this year, and so we're prepared to handle whatever comes at us.
They are, and were at least, the number one offense in Ken Pom history. You guys held them to 70. 6 of those points came in the last 49 seconds, and then 5 of their points before that came when it was 5-on-4 with the guy hurt. So
You're on it.
like, where does that rank in terms of defensive performances, considering the opponent there that you've been a part of?
I don't think it was one of our best performances ever for a number of reasons, but it was really good. And we've had a lot of really good performances this year on that side of the ball, and I think that's probably why that we've set the bar pretty high. But those are great points because, sometimes when you're up 20 and you decide to play defense, then there's a minute left and some old school people want you to take 2 shot clock violations. I mean, you're hurting your metrics. You're hurting all the things that go into seeding and the modern part of the game. But you said it. We gave up 11 points essentially without our defense being our defense, and so it could have been even better. But just proud of our effort. We fought. We competed. We played well together. We covered for each other. We looked like a team that was motivated, but also still fresh mentally in this late in the season, which is a good sign going forward.
Would you take us through when you found out about LJ, when you got that report? Did you call him? Did you call the players kind of thing, or individually?
No, I was actually here, and he was here when I found out. And I went and talked to him. And then when I found out, I texted the players. And that's it. I mean, we called the people around him, called his mentors, called his coaches, his family. I mean, just typical stuff.
Is it typical stuff when you talk about the details of when he'll have a surgery and timeline, that kind of stuff?
We discussed it yesterday.
Is there also consideration, I know it's early, but where he could even possibly redshirt next year when you look at all that?
That's certainly been discussed as well, and then that impacts the recruiting decision making and all those things. But right now we're still trying to figure out when he's going to have it. What's the timeline? Does it make sense to go ahead and sit out next year? That's certainly on the table. But right now we haven't made any definitive decisions because all the information is so inconclusive. But that's certainly on the table.
Obviously, still stakes attached to these next 2 weeks of game before Selection Sunday. How much of that now is still trying to achieve the goal of winning a Big Ten tournament versus let's try to figure out what this looks like after or post LJ and how you guys plan for it?
Yeah, I was talking with a coaching mentor of mine about a month or two ago, and he obviously thought we had a chance to win a Big Ten regular season championship, and said Coach Knight didn't care about the Big Ten tournament at all. He almost, I don't want to say preferred to lose, because as a competitor but it didn't bother him to lose because then you could start preparing for the NCAA tournament. I just don't know with the competitors we have in our locker room if we could ever go into a tournament setting and a tournament as big as this is for us as far as who we're playing, getting better, things like that, and not try to win it. So I think that'll be our mindset. Will be to go there. Sometimes there are coaches that discredit the Big Ten tournament, and we're not. We have a lot. Whoever wins this tournament this year and what we think is the best league in the country, then we're going to have a lot of respect for them and the job they did, because whether they win 3 games in 3 days or 4 games in 4 days against really good teams, that's not that simple. Now it is different than winning a 20 game regular season or an 18 game or even a 16 game regular season, obviously. But now with the schedule fluctuations, it's not even as if there's a true fair winner in every league. I mean, even I looked at the ACC. Some teams don't play each other at all. Some play twice. Some leagues are weighted top and bottom. I know our last year in the American, the team that won it was predicted to be in the bottom, so they played all of the bottom teams twice, and then they happened to play the best teams only at home, and so that the scheduling favors certain teams at some point. But I just think we're going to go and we're going to compete like crazy at Iowa Thursday. We're going to come back on senior night and try to send our seniors out the right way. and for our fans and celebrate with our fans. And then we're going to try to go to the Big Ten tournament and try to find a way to win 3 games in 3 days, and then go to the NCAA tournament and try to win that first round game and get to whatever's next. I can't see us doing anything other than that. Plus, you get better by playing these games. I think game reps are as valuable as 1 game reps as valuable as 50 practice reps.
Yeah, Dusty, you were mentioning some of the opportunity that comes for the other players with LJ going down. Is Trey the natural person to sort of take over some of those on-ball minutes when Elliott's not on the court? And just given the progress and the growth and how good he's been this year, what's your level of confidence that he can do that?
Can Trey take over minutes with the ball in his hands? Yes, absolutely. He's proved that time and time again. He's done it in practice. And we don't really come down and stop, get organized. So it's more of someone on the court needs to huddle us, get us organized, give the team the calls, the commands, and then, Trey's got a great voice. He's improved. I don't know, what was the other part of the question? Are we confident in Trey? Yeah, for sure. He's good. Is that? Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're going to play these games out, and we're not going to. Yeah, I mean, Roddy, Trey, Yaks. I mean, we have confidence, and part of it too is, we try to play practical basketball. Where if Boswell's guarding Trey, then it probably won't be him that possession. If Boswell's guarding Elliott, LJ brings it up. I mean, that's kind of how. If the team has an elite defender, it's not that we don't have confidence that our guy can initiate offense with elite defender. It's just why would you exert that much energy emotionally and physically just to get a ball entered whenever you have so many other capable weapons? That's just not how we play. I mean, Yaks, Merez, Adai's a trigger for us against certain matchups. Against Iowa, the way they pressure bigs, I don't know if he'll be that much of a trigger guy. But yeah, we have a lot. Trey McKinney's a hell of a player. He's good with the ball in his hands. He's good without the ball in his hands, and he's continued to improve. And so, but yeah, we're confident in him. Roddy, Namari played point guard here the year before we got here. Now, obviously, it's a different style of play, but we have enough to overcome what LJ brought to the team. And obviously, we're losing a lot. LJ was playing as well as I saw. Rothstein said he was the best backup point guard in the country. I don't know if he's the best backup point guard in the country, but I can't think of one that's better. And so we lost, we're losing a lot, but once again, we're not going to sit here and say, look at it from that angle. We're going to look at it. This is an opportunity for all these other guys to do a little bit more, and they're more than capable. So it's on us to find the right rotations and situations, but without a doubt, we have a lot of confidence in our roster.
Dusty, you won at Illinois, at Purdue, at Michigan State, all by games that didn't go down to the wire. You've won everywhere, but can you speak to the success in other teams' gyms this year?
Yeah, we've had a great level of focus and togetherness, and we've found different things to rally around. I think what our guys, they play for stuff that's real. They love playing with each other. They love supporting each other, and coaches throw that word around a lot, but these guys really, they care for each other. Like, they, as people, as teammates, they care for each other's careers. There hasn't been one moment all year where we felt like there was any envy in our locker room. And when you have the discrepancy of salary, everybody knows what Yakel makes, and everybody knows that no one else is in the same ballpark. That could be something that hurts your locker room. But our guys, they've just been great, and I think that's a big part of our success, that they genuinely care about each other and playing the game with each other the right way. So I think that's the biggest reason we've been successful on the road.
You talked about motivation a little bit, but you have already clinched the Big Ten title. Iowa's, I guess, playing for an NCAA tournament berth. I guess, can you speak to what you might have to say or the mindset of the players going into this particular game, not a rivalry game?
We haven't practiced yet. There are some things that haven't been done, and it's not what's going to drive us. But if we're the first team since, maybe you guys correct me, 76 that's went undefeated on the road in the Big Ten. I think that'd be pretty cool to go through it unblemished. I think it'd be the first time anyone's ever won 19 games in the Big Ten. Is that correct? I'm assuming when Penn State came into the league, they played 20. This is all just me off the cusp. And I don't think anyone's ever won 19. Is that correct? So we have a couple milestones that we could chase, but that stuff's pretty shallow. I think when the ball's tipped, we're going to talk about that stuff. Maybe it helps us prepare with a little bit more edge. But when that ball is tipped up, we expect our guys to compete like they have all year and try to win that possession. But certainly leading up to that, we'll talk about it. And everyone's motivated by something different. And if that hits a chord with a couple of our guys and allows them to prepare a little bit better with more intentional focus, then we'll take it.
Dusty, did you and Coach Izzo have any additional communication after the last Michigan State game? And is there anything from that game you think could carry into this week?
I've been zero communication since then. And what was the second part?
Just anything lingering from that last game that you think could carry into this next game this week?
No, nothing I can think of. I mean, it's going to be a heated battle. Look, let's make no bones. Like, it's going to be the stakes are going to be high. This is what a rivalry game is supposed to feel like. It's going to be a sold-out arena on senior night. Both teams playing for NCAA seeding, for positioning, for Big Ten tournament positioning, seeding, all those other things. But that stuff doesn't really matter when two really good teams are playing, and they're playing at a high level. I mean, they've been fun to watch. I mean, look, I'm a fan of the game, and I respect stuff that's real, and what they've done the last week or two, they're playing at a high level. That's going to be a tough game, but we're all attention's on Iowa. When I've watched their games, it hasn't been as far as like thinking about our game versus them. It's just same way I watched Purdue and Ohio State yesterday. Like, man, Ohio State, what a performance they had. That type of thing. But no, all the other stuff. Look, I mean, very little was said initially. And you guys, everybody does their job, and it brought a lot of attention and stories and clicks and everything else that goes with it. But, like, I still don't feel like anything was really said other than there are some plays that are on film. Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah.
I know you're not inside of his head, but how is LJ doing just mentally? What kind of mental makeup does he have, and like what's this look like for him, for the next 3-6 months or so, I guess?
I haven't seen him today. As of yesterday, he was fine. I mean, he knows he has a challenge in front of him. We wanted to plan everything as far as his procedures or whatever he does around him being still part of our team and with us and experiencing everything that these guys experience. And like, look, we've said it from the beginning. When adversity hits, our response is good. And so, okay, LJ, now you're going to appreciate the game even more. You're going to learn to battle through something that you've never had to battle through before. And just, even your long-term career goals. He was never going to make it at the highest level of basketball based on his DNA or God-given talents. I mean, obviously he's very talented, but he was going to have to get there by being a better basketball player and a smarter player. So this allows him to dive into the film, to get his body right, to continue to grow mentally, and then find a way to be the best player he can be when he needs to be for those reasons. But it's going to be difficult. It's hard. I mean, especially whenever you're playing the way he was playing. I mean, every single game was playing better than the last, and he'd played well the game before that. So his habits had changed. His maturity was coming along at the right level for a college sophomore. So, it stinks, but at the end of the day, we're going to attack it as the only way to look at it is this is going to be positive, even though it doesn't feel like it's going to be.
You obviously knew a lot about Yakel when you brought him here, but what has surprised you or been most impressive?
The thing that's been most impressive about Yakel is how great of a teammate he is, and how much he's embraced our culture and the way things are done here. It's been difficult. There have been tough days, and he stayed the course. He's fought through it. Also, how he's embraced the challenges. I mean, you saw him picking up Wagler full court, 94 feet, every single possession, with fire in his eyes. And so, I don't think whenever you're as heralded as he was and you're moving up a level that you can anticipate that he's going to have that type of fire and juice. You never know. But I think those are the things. And then I'll keep going back to it, how much respect our guys have for him because he's so unselfish as a guy that came in and with the reputation that he had. Good.
I wanted to ask you about Iowa. Do I have it right that you and McCollum are friends? And then
Yeah.
Okay, and then thoughts on, I guess, what he's done there in year one, and Sturts as well, what he brings.
Yeah, what Coach has done there, what Ben's done is impressive. I mean, from day one to establish an identity that wins in the Big Ten, brought his group with him, and so a lot of those guys had a year of institutional knowledge. I could go on and on. I've learned a lot from Ben over the years. I didn't know him, but I watched his teams. I watched D2, D3. I've got a D3 team I'm going to study this offseason, so I watched different levels of elite basketball coaches and teachers. And then he reached out after our Final Four year, and the first time he called, we probably had an hour conversation, and we've talked regularly since then about a number of things, and we've talked throughout this year, but all communication has ceased for obvious reasons, and so we're excited to compete with him because we're going to be better. We're going to learn a few things from competing against his teams, and then Sturts he's fun to watch. You talk about a guy that plays every possession on both sides of the ball, who can manipulate the game, can manipulate defense. He's special, and we've had our guards the last couple of years watching certain things that he does, and we've taken a few things that he does as an individual that we can learn from, and it's been fun to watch them. They've had an odd season where they've really elevated their play against the top half teams, and then against some of the teams at the bottom, probably the matchups had something to do with it, but they haven't played as well against those teams. So for them to be in the position they're in, I don't think they're competing for an NCAA tournament bid. I think they could lose their next 3 games and still be in. I would almost, I'd certainly feel comfortable saying that. But they are playing for seeding. They're playing because it's not a microwave deal. They're trying to establish a championship level program, and this is we're in their way. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how we felt about it last year. Even when we were eliminated from contention, there were teams that we felt like these guys are in our way if we're going to compete for a regular season championship. So he's trying to do the same thing to build a sustainable, long-term championship level program, and he's on his way to doing that.
Dusty, just a senior day question. Just the guys who've been here with you for 2 years, like Roddy, Will, and Namar, can you just speak to the impact and role they've had in kind of getting this program back to its winning ways?
Yeah, it's easy to look at what guys do on the basketball court statistically and things like that, and then you measure what they've done behind the scenes. And those 3 guys, their teammates love playing with them. I think that's to me your work ethic, and do guys from a basketball standpoint, your work ethic, and do guys love playing with you, are to me that's kind of it. That's kind of it. If I was a basketball player now and they said people don't like playing with him, that would crush me to my soul. You could say a lot of other things and you shrug it off. But if you said he doesn't work hard and guys don't like playing with him, that would be tough. That would be a tough pill to swallow. And these guys, everyone loves playing basketball with these 3 guys. They love sharing the locker room. They love being around them. They love the impact they have on the team. And they've made it about the team instead of themselves. All 3 could be producing more somewhere else individually. But they sold out to this, to try to do this together, and they knew we were going to bring in some talented players because they recruited them. I mean, they really, really recruited these guys aggressively. And that's a big part of why they're here, and also why they fit in so well, because when they got here, all locker rooms aren't the same. And these guys from day one welcomed everyone new to our program with open arms, even though it might affect their playing time and their money and their stats and all the stuff that goes with it in today's climate. And so I can't say enough about those guys. And whenever whenever the fans talk about, they're probably going to remember the leading scorers and this and that. Whenever our coaches and our team and players and managers, everyone talk about the success we've had, we know that those guys from year 1 to year 2 are a big, big part of our success. There's no way it happens if those guys aren't here doing what they do. And I think all 3 of those guys they're going to have a nice stretch run going forward. Thank you, guys.